Tottenham Hotspur chairman Daniel Levy sat down with Gary Neville from The Overlap in an exclusive interview, which was an eye-opener, talked about a range of different subjects. So it's one you don't want to miss in this video. I'll be reading out some key quotes, giving my opinions, and really dissecting the interview, what it means, what new have we learned, what do we know already. So make sure you are staying tuned to the end. Without further ado, let's get straight into this one. If you're new, please do like and subscribe. So firstly, I thought in this interview that Daniel Levy came across well, but it's a lot of what we knew already. There are some surprising things in there, and I'll read out the quotes to explain what is surprising, but he's doubling down on a lot of things. So let's read out the kind of 5-6 main quotes from this interview. But Daniel Levy first talks about the protests organised by Chase for Tottenham, saying that it hurts him and the board, but insists their pain is also his pain. He says, of course it hurts, but their pain is also my pain. I want to win, and when we're not playing well and we're not winning, believe me, I suffer as well. It ruins the whole weekend when we don't win. It's horrible. You're in this to win, and when you don't, it's no fun. Daniel Levy says the ultimate decision to sack Ange Postecoglou sits with him, but insists it was a collective board decision. He says ultimately the decision does sit with me, but it's always a collective decision. We have a board of directors, but under the board we have a group of technical staff and they advise. We had to explain the decision to part ways with Ange. Ange just won us a trophy, a European trophy, highly significant, and he's always going to be in our history. However, we couldn't lose sight of the fact that we finished 17th in the league. We lost 22 Premier League games. It's impossible for Tottenham to be in that position, and so we had to take the emotion out of it, and we had to give some data points as to why we decided to do what we did. Whichever level you do it, no one likes telling somebody you're losing your job, but it's the nature of football. We're there to win, and yes, we won a European trophy, and it was fantastic, but we also need to win on all fronts, and the Premier League says it all. Next, Daniel Levy says he wants Thomas Frank to win the league as soon as possible. However, his first task at Tottenham is to restore the club competing at the highest level on all 4 fronts. He said Thomas Frank is a highly intelligent individual. He's got a fantastic way about him in terms of communication. He would be great at developing both young players and older players and making them better. We haven't set him, you've got to win the league this year. We just want to compete at the highest level. We will support him to the best of our ability. If you look at transfer fees, we've been in the top 4 spenders since the new stadium opened. We spent close to £700 million net on new players. This isn't just about money. This is about some luck, having the right balance in the team, having the right coach. There's a lot of things that have to come together. Daniel Levy says Tottenham Hotspur winning the Europa League was his best night as chairman of the football club. He said, yes, it has to be winning the Europa League. That has to be the best night for me as chairman of Tottenham. When we come back to the stadium and did the parade a few days later, the outpouring of emotion was for everyone to see all around the world. It was amazing. Daniel Levy has firmly insisted that he does not interfere with the footballing side of Tottenham Hotspur. Levy said, I do not interfere at all in the decision making of this player versus that player. It's always the coach, always the technical staff. The only thing I get involved in is when they decide which player they want to buy, for instance, or which player they want to sell. I will go out and do my very best for the football club. I'm not interfering in the football decisions. Daniel Levy firmly believes that it's not sustainable for other clubs to continue overspending. Daniel Levy said, I wouldn't say that the spending of other clubs is crazy, but it's not sustainable, which is why they will end up with problems. We all know that if everyone overspends, it's a zero-sum game because no one benefits from it. I think there has to be rules and people need to stick to them. If you look at what we've done, we haven't had someone pumping hundreds of millions into the club. We've done it all on our own. We've been entrepreneurial and have increased our revenues to enable us to compete to the best we can today. One of the biggest threats is related party sponsorships. That's the area that has to be controlled, because if you end up having clubs that are owned by states, which I have no issue with, they can do deals with themselves, and that puts them in a competitive advantage over everyone else. That's an area that must be looked into. Multi-club ownership is another issue that is very important today because it didn't really exist 5 years ago. The idea that one club is involved in lots of different clubs where the money involved today must be controlled carefully. We have financial control measures and it can be abused. It worries me a little because there's so much money in the game now and you only need one owner to do something inappropriate and it would impact confidence from sponsors and broadcasters in the European game. It needs to be tightly controlled. Next, Daniel Levy says that building the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium will go down as his greatest ever achievement and believes he will not be given any credit to it until he leaves the club. He says the construction of the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is my greatest achievement and I'm not doing it again. This stadium is a symbol of Tottenham Hotspur on the global map. It was luck. We hit the market at the right time. Interest rates were low, so we managed to borrow 35-year money at just over 2.5%. This stadium today to build is probably more than £2 billion. I think that's one of those situations when I'm not here, I'm sure I'll get the credit. When you come here and look at this wonderful building and the fact that other clubs are now trying to copy what we're doing, that should be a sign that maybe we do something bold and something right. Daniel Levy said that they will back Thomas Frank to the best of their ability in the transfer window, and the aim for Thomas Frank to restore Spurs to the top level. He said, we will support him to the best of our ability. I very much hope that Thomas will bring all the ingredients and bring this team to where it belongs, which is right at the top. We need to compete at the highest level. We need to consistently be about trying to win trophies, because that's what it's all about. Those are your main quotes. So yeah, as I said, I do think he came across well. There's some flaws in there in terms of he contradicts himself. You know, he talks about he doesn't want people to rely on certain things, but he wanted to rely on the government, obviously, for the furlough during COVID. So there's some, interesting things there. But one thing that annoyed me is the fact he says, look, here in this latest one, I very much hope that Thomas will bring all the right ingredients and bring this team to where it belongs, which is the top. I know what he means, but for me, Daniel Levy should be supplying those ingredients. It should be Thomas Frank's job to, put together the ingredients to form a winning recipe that wins MasterChef, if you like, comes up with the winning formula, a winning recipe. But Daniel Levy needs to continue with the money. And one thing I get the impression from with this interview is that it's not much about what he didn't do right, what's going wrong. And what we've got to remember, a lot of people have a go at Gary Neville for the questions he's asked, not being harsh enough. But what I would say is that he could have asked those questions, we don't know. Remember, it would have been edited, would have been checked by Daniel Levy himself, by people above him at the club. It would have been deep checked several times, and probably a lot edited of it. And Gary Neville would have been told that you can ask about this, please do ask about this, don't ask about this, ideally don't ask about this. It would have been he would have had some say in it, so that is important to remember. But it sounds like Daniel Levy's happy with what he's doing and thinks he should do more of the same. I mean, if I could ask Daniel Levy a question, it would be, why do you pay these ridiculous transfer fees for players, but you won't pay the wage structure? And how do you expect to achieve your goal of win the Premier League and Champions League when your wage structure is hindering your development, it's stopping you from competing with the best teams in England, because it stops you from retaining and attracting the best players in Europe and the world? That'd be my one question to him. And two would be, how are you taking a big bonus? What justifies you taking a bonus when season tickets are going up through the roof and everything else is going up? That's what I would say. What justifies you to increase your bonus after finishing 17th in the Premier League? That's what I would say. But it's interesting that there's some good bits in it as well. I think he speaks well about party sponsors, all that kind of thing, state-owned, this, that and the other. He speaks well about multi-club ownership. I agree with all of that, and he sounds ambitious, and I genuinely think he wants what's best for the club. But I think he's interfered in more with the football side than maybe he thinks. Crazy that this new stadium would have cost £1 billion more of a total of £2 billion if it was built today. I do believe Daniel Levy with that. So no, he does speak well, but it's a lot of I was right, this is why. It's a lot of what we knew. The only thing that maybe is an eye-opener is the fact that the stadium would have cost a lot more. So no real surprise in there, but Daniel Levy wants more credit than he's probably going to get. But he did come across well. I think Neville, an interview with him was really good, but of course we're only seeing certain bits of it, and it's important to remember. Daniel Levy is succeeding on the finance point of view. I want to give him a lot of credit. He deserves it for the stadium, and it's nice knowing waking up or going to bed at night knowing that your club is financially secure. It's not going to go bust, it's not going to go under by the time you wake up in the morning. We've seen situations, Sheffield Wednesday, Morecambe, so many clubs at the moment and in the past where they aren't financially secure, and I really feel at the moment in particular for Morecambe fans, for Sheffield Wednesday fans. So that is nice to know. Levy deserves credit for doing that at the bare minimum, but when it comes to the football side, different kettle of fish, and we can't, it actually speaks louder than words. You can't win the Premier League and Champions League if you don't change the wage structure. Someone like Eze, whoever it may be, won't be interested in Tottenham, because whether you like it or not, money's a big factor for players. I'm not saying necessarily Eze in particular, but those are my thoughts on that interview. I think it was good, but a lot of what we've heard and a few lies and interesting bits in there, but also some good bits. So it was interesting, definitely an eye-opener still, although we knew a lot of this. But get involved in the comments below. How did you think Levy came across? Has this changed your perception of Daniel Levy? What do you make of it? What have you seen there? Yeah, all of those jazz. Get involved in the comments below. But now, a massive Come On You Spurs. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're new.